It's going to look like crypto's dead. It's going to look like, you know, Bitcoin's over. But in reality, the price is going to be stabilizing. Institutions are going to be accumulating. The general population is going to be forgetting about it. And then that's when the smart money is going to start picking it up. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today we're going to be doing another technical analysis video. The past week, the East Coast was hit by a pretty strong snowstorm. I lost power for a few days and I wasn't able to do any updates, but I figured I'd just wait a little bit, see what the price of Bitcoin does, and then I'd get back to you guys. So here we are again. So right now, the price is dropping off pretty fast. In my previous videos, I've talked about this parabolic trend right here and how the parabolic trend has been broken. We did hit that key level support right there, right around $6,000, and we had a pretty strong bounce back, almost 100% gains for those who got in down here. You know, a lot of crypto YouTubers over the past week, you know, the price came up here, and a lot of them were just so bullish on Bitcoin, not really taking into account what the volume looked like. In my past videos, I talked about during this reversal in my past videos, I discussed the volume and how this low did not have nearly enough volume for any sort of successful rebound. Although we did get a rebound, we came right back up to these highs, and quickly we sold off again. But you know, it's very important to understand where the volume is sitting on a chart. Where the things that have happened in the past, like more recently, have a huge effect on the things that happen in the future. Prices react to support and resistance areas. And this reversal right here coming down to, what was it, 9,200, almost no support right there, guys. The price did bounce back pretty significantly, but looking at that volume there was nothing there. I've discussed this in a lot of my videos. When you're looking for a low, you're looking for good volume, and we did not get that volume. So yeah, I mean, this recent price drop, a lot of people blame it on news, they blame it on this, they blame it on that. But what I mean, you can't blame every downward price action on something. Sometimes things are just overbought and they need to be sold off a little bit more. And that's pretty much exactly what we're seeing now. We're seeing a sell-off from something that was completely overbought. At this point, you know, especially up here, Bitcoin was incredibly overbought, completely overextended to the upside. Then we had a really quick sell-off here to 6K, had another 100% rebound, and now we're coming back down. I think in my last video I talked about 8,500 being a good support area. We hit 8,500, got some of that support. So in my past recent videos I've talked about how I believe the momentum is to the downside, and this price action makes that very clear. When you're looking at Bitcoin's price on the way up, all the big downswings were met with upward price action pretty much every time, and now all the upward price action is met with strong downward movement. So the momentum is clearly to the downside. A lot of people on crypto, a lot of crypto analysts, a lot of YouTubers, you know, they were all gung-ho bullish right here, which honestly just surprised the hell out of me because there was nothing backing this move. These drops can easily happen when you have nothing backing the move, and there was nothing backing this move. You know, we've had some news came out. I'm not going to get into it, but there's some Bitcoin whales, some Japanese whales that talked about how they're going to sell $1.7 billion worth of Bitcoin, and that in of itself is a pretty clear bearish indication that they told you publicly that they were going to sell $1.7 billion worth of Bitcoin, and somehow people are still bullish on Bitcoin, and these people publicly announce that they're selling $1.7 billion worth, which is just crazy to me that people can still be bullish on Bitcoin. And as I've discussed before in my past videos, I do think we're going to see a low around $2,500. I've said by summer. I'm still going to stand by that, but I think at some point in this year, we're going to see $2,500. It could be very soon. It could be in a few months, but I'm thinking right around when summer starts, we should be sitting at around $2,500. Bitcoin is completely overbought right now, and these sell-offs are completely expected. Looking at this sell volume here, if you compare this sell volume to this sell volume during its peak, I mean, it's pretty comparable. It's not looking very good for Bitcoin right now. I think we could easily break through this support area think once we reach 6,000, we'll probably see a nice bounce. Maybe back up to like 9,500. You know, there's gonna be big swings, but that's really just, it's a mind game, guys. It's a total mind game. You know, pretty often I put out these videos, and then the Bitcoin will go up like $1,000, $2,000, and then people will say, "Oh, Kevin, you were wrong." But I mean, look where we are now. We're back down. Bitcoin is known to be a volatile asset. Just because the price went up $1,000, $2,000 does not mean that it's bullish. You have to take a lot of things into account when you're trying to make some sort of conclusion like that. At no point during any of these moves, other than this rebound, did I think Bitcoin was bullish. There was clearly not enough volume here to send the price into any sort of recovery, to any sort of breakout. I'm definitely bearish on Bitcoin. I've been bearish on Bitcoin pretty much since we've crossed this point right here, and that's when I made my first video, was when I saw this parabolic trend got broken, was what really first initiated me to make my first video and to explain why I do think that crypto is in a bubble. I've talked about my other videos how people aren't really using cryptocurrencies. They're sort of just storing it in their wallets, and they're not doing anything. They're not using them in their proper use case. And I think that is taking its toll on the market right now. Honestly, I think that most people buying crypto right now are actually too early. They're getting in too early, because I do think that we have a few more years before cryptocurrencies can actually be used in their proper use case. I don't think the crypto isn't easy enough to use yet. There's no simple way to use crypto right now. The average person isn't capable of even understanding how the blockchain works, and it's just too early, guys. I don't think that these prices can hold up if people are simply storing their cryptos in their wallets and not using them, and just holding on to them, hodling, and hoping for the price to go up so they can become rich. That it's just ridiculous to me. I think a lot of people in crypto are pretty dumb. I think a lot of people have no idea what they're doing, and that is why the general population bought into this crazy upswing here. This is where everyone knew about, started hearing about Bitcoin. This is where the general population started to learn what Bitcoin and blockchain was, and they thought that, oh, you know, Bitcoin's been going up this whole time. It's got to keep going up. Once something hits the news cycles, guys, the general population sees it. And once the general population sees it and they get involved, there's nobody left to get involved. So when the general population gets involved, there's nobody else to pump the market, and prices fall. And right now, the interesting thing about what's happening right now is the prices are falling, but the general population that got in, you know, around 6,000, 8,000, 10,000, they're still holding on to their Bitcoin. And what's going to happen is, once the price gets below this support area, there's going to be blood on the streets, and people are going to be selling like crazy. And it's going to cause, that's what I think is going to cause that price to get pushed down that low. I think $2,500 is a good price point in terms of the shift that took place between early adopters and the general population. I think anybody who bought Bitcoin above 2,500 is considered the general population. In my opinion, you're not an early adopter if you bought Bitcoin above $2,500. And I think 2,500 is just a good price point that indicates the shift between early adopters and the general population. I think that the fact that Bitcoin was able to reach $20,000 is kind of insane. It just shows you how easily something can get hyped up in the media, and kind of how ignorant the public is, just thinking that they were guaranteed to make money. And yeah, I don't see anything bullish in Bitcoin for the near future. I think eventually we will hit these prices again, and eventually we will hit all-time highs again and go further. But I think it's going to take another few years, sort of like what we saw during Bitcoin's first crash. It took a couple years before Bitcoin came back, and what happened was Bitcoin hit 1,100, and it came down, and it basically just stabilized around $250, and people forgot about Bitcoin. And that's when the smart money came in. People started accumulating, and the institutions started pushing it back up, and I expect the exact same thing to happen this time around. I think that the price is going to come down to about $2,500. It's going to sit there. It's going to look like crypto's dead. It's going to look like, you know, Bitcoin's over. But in reality, the price is going to be stabilizing. Institutions are going to be accumulating. The general population is going to be forgetting about it. And then that's when the smart money is going to start picking it up. See, traders buy the dips and they sell, you know, they make trades, but institutions aren't interested in doing these quick trade and plays. I mean, they do to participate, but they're looking for the macro trends. They're looking for the overall big picture. They don't want to sit there and play with the general population and, you know, accumulate while the general population is accumulating. That's not what they're interested in. They want to get a hold of the supply that they want, and then they'll push it up. One thing you got to realize is that Bitcoin is a speculation tool. It is a currency, but what it is it's a money machine. I mean, people mine it, people trade it. It's a speculation tool. There's no, Bitcoin's value is based on nothing, essentially. It's based on how much use it has, how much demand it has. But it's the value of Bitcoin is not based on anything. You could say that the value of Bitcoin is based on the amount of miners there are and how much money is put into the mining industry, but essentially Bitcoin's price is not based on anything other than its price. I'm going to wait for the price to stabilize, and once it stabilizes, I'll slowly start averaging in, buying in. Right now, if you're buying these dips, it's pretty much a crapshoot. You might make money, you might not, but I think if you're buying now, I think you're going to be in the red for at least a couple of years. But yeah, right now I don't have money in the market, so if you want to follow somebody who's completely unbiased, somebody who's giving you their honest opinion and their truthful opinion, somebody that doesn't have anything to protect, because a lot of these YouTubers out there are trying to protect their investments, and I'm coming to you completely unbiased. And if you want to follow somebody who's going to give you their honest opinion, unbiased opinion, then subscribe to the channel, like the video, share it. I really appreciate it, guys, and I'll see you soon.